There is not an example more perfect to bring to the table here at the Mill Serp Garage than the Gill Guns. They got it all, from examining the designs, examining the patents, examining the different versions. They definitely have it all. This is a Stevens Model 85A. Let's take the deep dive. Mill Serp Garage, Stevens Model 85A. Let's check it out. It's a Gill Gun. It's a 22. Fires shorts, longs, long rifles. It has its own way of doing it. You remember the 6A. We did the 6A here on this channel. We did a couple of videos on it. See, one major difference that you'll see between this and the 6A right off the bat is the stock. It's either beech or maple. I'm not really sure which. And of course, the detachable magazine here. We have a detachable box magazine in a Gill Gun. Nice. Yeah, let's check out. So what markings? The markings that we have on these are very important. Let's check out what we got here. Stevens, Savage Arms Corporation, of course. Chicopee Falls, Massachusetts. Model 85A. 22 short, long, or long rifle. Long rifle are only as automatic. This causes a lot of craziness. People see that, they don't know exactly what that means. And they start thinking about, like machine guns or something. Here's the safety. Nice positive click going on there. Here's the patent information. It's upside down. Let's switch it over. Lots of patents on here. That means something. That's kind of like how you date these things. Generally date them is by how many patents they have. But we're going to get in there. We're going to take a look. Remind me. We forgot the last Savage that we did. We forgot that there's a way to date these ones that are post 49. 49 and later, we could date them. I'll just get that out of the way right now. It was the Savage Stevens Model 15A that we recently did. The bolt action 22. That was same designer as this guy, by the way. And that was the one, the first rifle of the sniper, Carlos Hathcock. You remember that that video. Well, I couldn't really date that one. I was saying it's from 48 to 65, and I couldn't narrow it down. Not true. It had the barrel date code, which came out for 1951. So it was an early model for that, when they made those. But this guy, we dated this one. Where is it? To 1951. And how do we do that? Let's zoom in. I'm going to show you how we do that. It's right there. It's that circle that you see right there. Tip of my finger. It looks like it says 12 or 32 or something. There's a number, something, a 2, and then a C. Is that a C? That looks like a C, right? It only got hit. Only the top half of it got hit. But what other letter could that be if not a C? Right? So C would be 51 because they start with A and 49. And they skip O and Q. So let's say you had a, E. Then you would go 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, like that. You go A, B, C, D, E. 9, 10, 50, 1, 2, so it would be 53. You just keep counting forward. You skip O and Q. And that's how you would do the post 49 and later. So you guys remember the 6A? Come on, you got to remember the videos that we did on the 6A. Let's break it out. Here it is. This was a much older one. So, and that was also a Savage. So with these, Savage was like the name brand, let's say. And Stevens, Savage had bought Stevens in the 20s, in 1920, I think it was. And they basically, it's like their store-bought brand, let's say. You know what I mean? They kind of like kept it as a lower priced version, but pretty cool to just like keep selling them, keep making them out of the same factory and everything like that. And you're kind of making the same rifle just with a different name on it. And there were people that actually had brand loyalty then or whatever, which is kind of weird. Even collectors to this day still like one over the other. But they're kind of interesting. You say this is walnut, on this Savage, this is a walnut, definitely a much prettier wood with checkering. And then this is kind of like beech or maple. It'd be cheaper. It's like a baseball bat. It's like it was carved out of a baseball bat. Doesn't have any checkering. So you think that would be the cheaper one. And yet here the trigger guard here is aluminum and the trigger guard here steel. So you would think that would be better quality. I mean, kind of odd. You don't really know what they were thinking with with these things most of the time. But this guy is an older one. The 6A is from I'm dating it approximately 1939. You can go back and check out the video. I even have a special video on this rifle just on how I dated it. Because I sat there, you could do tons of research and find out, what patent dates were on it and what this and what that, like little things. And I even used to date it, I'm pretty sure, it had these holes here where I have this sight, this scope mount. I actually just recently bought a scope for it. Unfortunately, I just don't have it here in time for this video. But I bought this scope it's a modern scope, but it will fit. These scope rings will fit it. And this is the T1 scope mount, which is different than on the Stevens. You'll see it has a different mount. It has these two little screws back here for more of like a like a marbles type deal going on back there. But using this scope mount was part of how I dated it right to 1939. Actually, it's just interesting information on how to date it. But I remember in that video too, I might have poked around with some patents and got into that. But man, let me tell you, this is a incredibly complex and patented design. This guy, I'll give you some just some nomenclature on it. So it's 22 short, long rifle. Let me explain to you how that works. Only the long rifle has the energy to operate the blowback action, so it'll work semi-automatically. If you want to use longs or shorts, it's absolutely possible. You just have to you use it like a bolt action rifle. So you lock the bolt. Well, first you would load the mag. You can take shorts into the mag, and you cycle the action to get the round into the chamber, and you close the bolt. This way, when you fire, the bolt won't even actuate, so you don't have to worry about getting stovepipe or anything jamming. And then you pull the bolt out, back, forward, back in again. So you operate it like a bolt action rifle. And with this procedure, you're able to fire the shorts and the longs, and they will feed out of the magazine. It does work. So yeah, the takes 5 rounds in the mag, 24-inch barrel. This is the same as the Savage Model 7. So the Savage Model 6, the 6A, the one that I just showed you, that would have been the Stevens 87. And now this is going back the other way. This is the 85. And going back the other way, it would be the Savage Model 7. It's just basically the detachable magazine version of the Model 6. But the Model 6, the 6A here, we got 15 long rifles, 17 longs, 21 shorts for capacity. So you can see if you really want to have long plinking sessions without reloading, the tube magazine could be for you. Also, you don't have to worry about losing the magazine, which is an interesting aspect. I only just started to realize these magazines, they are proprietary, even though, see, this is interesting. Even though this magazine looks here, I'll show you. This is a here's a Remington mag right here. I'll show you. It even says Remington on the bottom. You tell me what's different. What's different? Here's what's different. Right there. This wide gap as to that little gap. And then you take a look, even Winchester has similar looking magazines, right? You take a Winchester mag, like that one even looks kind of the same. This is a 10 rounder, but still, what's different here, this Winchester doesn't even have a catch here. What's going on with that? Well, Winchester does have a catch, and it's here. You see, that's not on these, so that actually prevents this from even going inside the gun. So it's almost like maybe if Winchester did that on purpose, they didn't even want them being used in other guns. It looks like you could use this Remington guy, but you can't. It flops around in there. You can see the Savage mag, the correct mag. It finds its spot. It locks in. You can't push it up any further, pull it out any further. It locks right in place. But the Remington one will fit in. Seems like it's doing okay, but does it go here? Does it go there? Where it moves around. If you find the sweet spot for it, it will feed. It will work. But for the most part, you got to kind of stick with the mags that are supposed to go in it. So let's check out what's going on inside. This is where these things get awesome. They're so easy to disassemble too, and they're so fun to mess around with. So here, different than what we're used to now with the mag. See, check out the mag. I'll show you. Here's where the mag is. That little catch right there. See, that little catch clicks in right there to the release right there. And that locates it perfectly in there. And if we break out our realistic snap caps here, let's get some realistic snap caps out. Check these guys out. You got to visit this website. You'll get 10% off if you put coupon code MILSURPGarage. MILSURPGARAGE, one word. And yeah, 10% off. These things are awesome. They are the best to use for function testing. And we'll get 5 of them in here. This design, so simple, very reliable. And what happens with this guy is you can't really test it out here with the snap caps. I love how, see how even going slow like this, it'll kick them out. You see that? Such a positive type of ejection. I love it. I love this design. I love this designer. Let's talk about who he is. He is none other than N.L. Brewer. That's right. What's his name again? Nicholas L. Brewer. Here's the basic patent for just firearm, okay? This is filed February 6th, 37, granted October 5th, 37. I think these things might have come out in like 39. So the original, this is the original patent too, right? Yeah, nothing's earlier than this. The original patent, you could see a lot of it revolves around what's going on here. And we don't have any of that because we're just using a box mag. We don't have to worry about lifter, follower, any of all that stuff. It's all handled by the magazine. But let's take a look. Let's just put the patent on the side for just a second. We're going to do some sick comparison work here. Because, I mean, this is what I'm used to with the 6A. And then when I got this thing, I saw just how much simpler it really is, and and how much I appreciated that, you know, original patent with the 6A. So here we see this part right here is the design here that makes this thing be able to function. Let's just put a couple. I just want to show you quick. I'm gonna open up the tube here. What's nice with these is you separate them from the stock, and you're taking everything out, trigger everything. I mean, it's still totally functional, 100%. You could shoot it like this if you wanted to. So with these, look at this, how this operation, this always fascinated me. That's why with coming up with the box magazine version was really interesting to see it so simplified. You could see that lifter there. And this is without the clickety clack stuff going on. This is just its basic operation. How awesome is that? And there were so many changes along the way. So Mr. Brewer here had this basic patent for, this is for the firearm in general. There's so many patents here. The gills alone were another patent. This was just for venting gases to keep it cleaner inside. And that's patented, the gills. I actually wrote on here which one. So this is the feed mechanism. So just the mechanism from the tube magazine feeding. And of course, there's tons of text. There's only one page of text I didn't print. There's like 8 other pages. I didn't even print those. I read that online. This is just, I printed these just so you guys could see just the pictures. It's amazing to sit and read the idiosyncrasies to these designs, to his designs. This Nicholas Brewer was a genius. And the solid lifter here, like that's on this one, this is an early model, was invented first. And then later on, they moved to a wire lifter. It was probably cheaper to manufacture, but I'm thinking also they might have been having some issues, and they might have gone to this wire issue to clear it up. I originally thought the wire one was first, and they went to the solid lifter to improve the design, but not so. And here is the bolt and the hammer. This was like some type of like update in the 40s where he updated how the bolt and the firing mechanism worked, the bolt and the hammer. This was interesting. Then we have a guy, F.S. Wilcox here, came and did some kind of change with the solid lifter here. This was filed in 1940, granted in 42. Not really sure what was going on here, or if Nicholas Brewer was still alive. Maybe there's some kind of update to the way the feed mechanism worked. Without him, I'm not sure. I know it's later than all the others, so I gotta see. I gotta look up. I should have done some research to see when this guy died. Maybe he died and it had to be updated, and a different guy did it. Not sure. Here is the release mechanism for the semi-automatics, for the rounds that would be. This is the release mechanism. Okay, so it looks like there's 2 different ones. This one is for shorts. There's a special rifle that only handled shorts. One of these, like it's like a Model 6, instead of 6A, it's like 6S or 6M, something. I'd have to look it up again. I saw it there. It was a special model, very rare, and they just used shorts. And I think there's a special patent here for how that works, I'm thinking. But there's also just trigger stuff going on over here. So I don't know. Maybe it's not just for that. But I definitely noticed that it was a shorter space here. That on these, here's the trigger mechanism. Here's a mechanism for control of breech bolt return and release of hammer. It's crazy. Crazy amount of patents. And this was re-released in 45, which is a way to date these things where if you see, you can see on here, see how it says RE 22585? That's the re-released patent. You know, if you see that on your gun, that it's definitely post 45, which wouldn't matter because you could do the dating with that semicircle, the date in the semicircle. But if that for some reason was missing, and then there's a chat forum thread here that really had a ton of information here. It was an amazing amount of information. There are so many short only version here to see, like model 602, short only version of model 6, introduced 1940, discontinued 46. It was only around for like 5 or 6 years, and it was a semi-auto short only version. That's what I'm thinking that patent had something to do with. And then here he links. He's like, well, you find he's linking all the patents. These links are dead. Don't try to type those in. You could just go to Google Patents and just put in these numbers. Here's the numbers for each one. Gill's feed mechanism, release mechanism. There's all the patents. And there's even more. If you go to Google Patents and you open up one, you could click on NL Brewer and it'll show you all of his patents. And he has a ton of them that are for this gun and for the other one that we said. What was that other one again? The Savage, the Stevens Model 15A. He was the designer on that guy as well. So yeah, so here's the two different designs for the tube fed, which has a ton more stuff going on here. Look at how intricate all of that is, and how that's all put together there. And then meanwhile, the clip fed one, especially if I remove the clip, I mean, look at this, none of that, nothing there. Look how much simpler it is. He's got a bolt mechanism, and makes you realize how advanced even just the magazine fed, how much more advanced it is, just because you don't have to have all of this other mechanism. It's not just the tube magazine. You still need a way to feed the rounds up into the chamber. And if you don't have a spring-loaded follower right here pushing rounds up, you have to have something going on to be able to lift. So that's what this whole mechanism is. And this part right here is what was turned into the wire. I guess later on, like I said, originally I thought that was the original ones were the wire, and they went to the solid, but apparently not. Just by looking at the patent dates, both when they were written and when they were filed and when they were actually granted, it looks like it was the wire one that came later. So I think it was something that cheapened it, and these are pretty cool, how quick these things come right out, just to be able to examine the design and check them out. So in case you're not aware, let's talk about the what makes these things unique. Why do they call them Clickety Clack guns, old Clickety Clack, or some other version? It has nothing to do with the noise this screw makes when you tighten it. It has everything to do with the fact that when you pull the trigger and they go bang, the bolt comes back, ejects the brass, and it sits just like that as long as you're holding the trigger. And only until you let go does it pick up the next round. Can't imagine why it needs to do that. It's not like it's any kind of advantage, either tactically or functionally, or nobody could figure it out. It's just this is what N.L. Brewer was smoking, and that's how he decided to make it, and that's that. Wood removed from receiver. What the hell did I write that for? I have no idea. Oh, remember the 15A? This is a really interesting anecdote. On the 15A, remember I couldn't get the wood separated from the receiver? Well, now I'm looking and I go, oh, I forgot I could get that date code because it's probably post 48. So then I'm like, oh yeah, the wood, I couldn't get to it because the wood is in the receiver. So I hit it with a heat gun, warmed it up a little bit, and I just pulled and it made a noise like it sounded like the stock snapped in half, but it didn't. It just released. It was good. It wasn't glued in. It was just literally like maybe the boiled linseed oil, years and years of like of wood preservative, whatever the hell was on it or whatever, just glued the action into the stock. And it came off, nothing broke, thank God. I was able to really give it a nice mineral spirits cleaning to get all that gunk off the steel. And then I realized that the date code was exposed the whole time. It was on top, just like this one is right here, and it wasn't even underneath. So just wanted you guys to know that the stock is now separated from the wood on the Model 15A, and we got a date of 1951. Strange enough, the same as this guy. This guy was 32C, and that one. Wait a minute, I put D here. D. So if this was 49, 50, 51, so D would be 49, 50, 51. That would be 52. So we made a mistake. Let's fix that. Sorry, the Savage Stevens Model 15A, being that it's D, yeah, A, B, C, D, 49, 50, 51, 1952. Sorry. There we go. Consider that fixed. Rectified. What else we got? Oh, if you take these apart, one more thing. These two trigger guard screws, okay? They're not the same size. This was gunked up. I definitely had to clean this guy really good. I literally had to take apart this bottom plate here, all disgusting underneath the receiver. Forget about it. I get these guns dirty, but I get them cheap. I paid $111 for this thing. But I noticed that these two screws, this only goes on one way. It only goes on this way. You can't rotate it around that way. It only goes this way. And this is the shorter screw. Shorter, longer. It's only by a teeny bit. It's really tough to see. But if you put the longer one in here, it'll probably route out some wood and potentially strip. If you put the short one here, it might not grip well enough and pull out. I've seen these trigger guards loose on some of them, and I'm thinking that's where that came from. So just keep that in mind if you do remove this, that it's smaller screw to the rear. At least it was on mine. Just put it this way, put your eye on it and check it out and look really good. So yeah, the patents are really important on these. See, on the 6A, this guy, we had a whole slew of them on here, right? Even the reissue one. But here on the 6A, it's really hard to even see. I'm gonna have to zoom. I can't even really see it pulling it up to the camera. But there it is, right there. Very hard to read. Others pending. There's one patent. See it? And then it says others pending. So that means something. You go on these chat forums, they'll tell you. There's guys that'll break it down. They'll be like, if you have one patent and it says others pending, then you're between this year and that year. You know, they break it down like that. But if you do have one that's a little bit older, a little bit newer, 49 and up, it's nice and easy to use that date that you see right on there. If it's struck good. Mine, luckily, if it was struck any lighter, you'd see a little mark there and you wouldn't know what the hell, what the hell it was. That scope, the original scope I had was this guy, this Weaver. This is a Weaver G4, is it? Yeah. This was originally what was on the 6A, but the optics were shot. Look at how milky that is. This thing was just trash. It's only good for like parts, if even, the tube or whatever, if somebody has one that's totally rotted or messed up. Refurbishing these things costs as much as it would be to just buy one in good shape, so that wouldn't make any sense. That's why I said, you know what, it'd be nice to have a period one on there, but I'm not spending $300 for one of those things. You could get a used one of these for less, under 100, around 100. but they're you know, who knows what condition it's going to be in. I just figured a nice small one that's nice and modern. You know, it's made kind of like for the air gun 22 kind of scene. And this way I wanted to put the scope mount back on this one now that I have one that I could use for open sights. It does have nice clean lines for open sights, these rifles. But I figured I could put the scope back on now so I would have one of each, you know what I mean? And that's about it. The Gill Guns. Yeah. Gill Guns. You gotta love them. They have other store-bought, you know, the Montgomery Wards and the J.C. Higgins and all those. That bouncing around too. There's all kinds of store brands. There's all kinds of different versions. There's tons of online resources. There's whole chat forums dedicated to these things. Get one of these and do your research and play around, man. They are fun to research. They're fun to shoot. They're very reliable. And they're awesome. You know what else we could do? We're not done. I'll tell you what. For you guys, I'll show you what we'll do. We'll unscrew back here. Let's do this. Wow, we could do a comparison between this and the 6A even. That would be pretty cool. Let's, I remember the 6A being a pain in the ass in this respect for some reason. But let's get this out. Let's show you what's in here. So you take these apart. You get the back of the receiver screw, for lack of a better term. This encapsulated spring thing here, which when I cleaned it, I didn't even take this apart. You see that you can kind of compress it a little bit and get that washer off of there, and this all would expand. All the springs would come out of here, but the way it was in, figured it's already in exactly the way it's supposed to be, because it's a spring in a spring, if you could see it. And you know what? I know if I just sprayed this out with gun scrubber, sprayed it with some compressed air carefully, not to dislodge anything, and oiled it up, it would be just as clean as if I took it apart. So I just left it together, and that's my suggestion with that, is just leave it together and just be careful that you don't manipulate it or bang it around where that clip comes off, because if it does, that's an explosion ready to happen. So now, at this stage now, the bolt handle will lift right out. And the bolt itself, you could get your finger back behind here, and if you give it enough, the momentum will carry it right through. Didn't work that time, so I'm gonna have to get a dowel. But if you could push it hard enough, I think it might be able to. Oh, you know what? I forgot to. Let's try it again. I forgot that you have to hold the trigger when you do that. Let's see. If you have to hold the trigger when you send the bolt out. Let's try that again. No, I could tell that it's not cooperating. There we go. Took a little to get over that hump. It took a little work. Oh, it's good that I got it out. The bolt face looks a little dirty there. Let's clean that. While we're here, I hope you don't mind. I mean, while we're here, show you how to clean the bolt face. That'll be part of the video. I just want to brush off those deposits there. I don't want to go crazy. But there was a. Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't clean it. I did shoot this thing late last night, and I didn't clean it. And I'm not taking it apart again. So you guys are stuck with me now with the cleaning. See, look, it's nice to take that out every time, because there is residue in here. See that? So what's cool about these is, look at the steel that this is made. This is like awesome. It's like the steel, like a camshaft is made out of. You know what I mean? And here's your firing pin. That's a pretty robust looking firing pin. You know what I'm saying? Am I too zoomed in here? Am I losing you guys? Yeah. Nice. So reassembly. You want to put the bolt back in. There we go. It worked good that time. See, that was impressive right there. Bolt handle back in with the notch here facing up. Boom. Then we take this guy. Oh, it goes this way. This lays in there nicely. It only goes that one way. So it kind of completes the circle here. And then when you slide this in, it goes right through that recess that was in the bolt. And then we push it all the way up forward. And we compress the spring with the cap. And we screw the cap on. And that's it. We could check the clickety clackiness of it. It works. Safety. Safety works. Nice. We're back. So that's how to disassemble the bolt. Don't say I didn't show you anything in this video, because there you go. What I'd really love to do is take out this one and do a comparison, but I'm a little shaky because I think I had an issue last time with this, and I can't exactly remember what it was. Should we just do it? I don't think we're going to notice a difference unless we actually sit there and compare them. You know, like face to face. But just going to give with a big screwdriver. I'm just going to give a little snug to both of these hold downs. Take down screws. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see what was going on in the 6A. We're already over the half hour, so let's just do it. Is it different? Yeah, it's different. It is different. Oh my God. Wow, you saw that? It was exactly like I said. That was right on the edge, just about to pop off. Wow. I'm scared now. I saw that. Did you see that? That was sick. Let's get this out of the way. I would have flipped out if that happened. And then bolt handle and bolt. Is the bolt gonna move? There we go. All right, let's get the bolt out. Let's get the dowel again. I said let's get the dowel again. I can't even pick it up. Here we go. Yeah, it's different. There are differences. Interesting. Very interesting. We should do a comparison video. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. This one, we're just gonna give the smallest amount of cleaning and lube too. Just gonna do a little clean down. Nice. I like the differences. Very interesting to see that. Wasn't so interesting to see this clip there almost popping off of there, causing that to rocket across the garage. That would have been terrible. All right, so how does this go? So it has to go that way. It goes in like this, down, facing down. Oh, not so slick that time, huh, buddy? Here we go. I don't remember what it was last time. It didn't have anything to do with that clip almost coming off, but it was something that made this a pain. I forgot what. Be very careful with this. All right, this goes in here. Same basic design, but definitely different. And this, I think this was where we had an issue getting it right down the middle. Didn't really seem to have a problem there. Make sure that clip is on good. Yeesh. There we go. I guess if it pops off in there, it's not going to do anything. But when you take it apart, that little clip will fall out of this cap and the springs will just be everywhere. I don't think it would actually, you'd be taking it apart kind of gently, you know what I mean? So it'd probably all be right there. But if that little encapsulated unit was just sitting there and that C-clip came, which it was right on the verge of coming off, if that comes off, the whole thing will just shoot apart. I'd never find I wouldn't even know what I'm looking for. Never took it apart. I don't know how many springs are in there. Oh, what a nightmare. I may just throw it in the garbage. Get another one. Whew, that was close. All right, we got through that unscathed. Let's check it. Bang. Clickety Clack works. Safety. We're good. So that's what's inside the 6A. Got a little twofer. Got a little extra today. Nice. Well, how did it function? It's awesome. Now, I just want to tell you, I do these shooting videos, then I show you the target. I show you the target, I'm just like, yeah, this is what was going on while I was shooting. But you got to understand, number one, I'm shooting around the camera. I'm concentrating on the camera. I don't really I'm not seated in the right position. I'm just trying to capture the gun shooting on video well. And it's not that I'm in a comfortable position to shoot at that point. But with this particular example, after I did the shooting video, then I sat down, I relaxed. And I'll be honest with you, I rested my elbows on the table. I'm definitely like, proned out on the shooting table, sitting down, not standing up on one foot or anything. But I did send the target all the way down the range. I don't know. I've never even looked on the wall to see what is that, 30 feet, 50 feet? I'm not even sure. But it's all the way down to your regular indoor range as far as it'll go distance. And sat there. I went through one mag, 5 rounds, brought that target in, and I was amazed. I was amazed at how accurate, just how well I was seeing these sights. These sights, see, if you take a look at this front sight, there's a brass bead on there. You see that? I didn't even shine it up. I usually shine these up. I'll show you my secret right now, actually. This is a Mill Serp Garage secret I'm going to let you guys in on right now. So you see the brass bead up there, right? Looks like it took a shot too at some time in its past. Well, I'm going to show you a little trick. What you do is you take a rag like this that's made for gold or silver. It's like a jewelry cleaning cloth, right? And you see what that looks like there now, right? And then with the jewelry cleaning cloth, you hit this thing. I'm just going to rub it a little bit. Look at the difference already, which is hardly anything, actually. No, it'll start shining. Just give it some time. Give it a minute. I'm not really in the right position to be doing this. Here we go. This polishes brass like you wouldn't believe. And it really makes those stand out. Look at it now. It's shining. I don't know if you could really even realize. It's so small that it's really tough to see, but it works really good with like the beads on the shotgun barrels. It really makes those things shine. So right before you go for the out to the trap range, you just rub it across the head of the bead there, and it really wakes those things up. But it shined it up. If I was going to demonstrate this, I should have used one of the beads on the shotgun barrel, but I digress. The reason I was amazed was the incredible accuracy that this thing had. I sent the target all the way down range again, all the way to the end, and did another 5 rounds, and brought it back, and was even doubly amazed. Incredibly, I never even had to touch the sights. I mean, it was right on the mark. How these things hold their accuracy with just these rudimentary steps that it has, and this bent, drifted, bashed in brass tip thing over here somehow lines up to in order to be that accurate. These things are like plinking gods. You will be the god of the washout, of the sump, the dried out sump plinking area. If you bring this thing down, nobody will beat you. So yeah, you got to stick to those. Those mags that are made for this thing. So good luck. Make sure when you get it, you get the right mag, and make sure, like, there is no play like that. You know what I mean? The mag has to click into place, and it has to be the right one. If someone's going to try to stick a Winchester one in there on you, because they're much more common than these. So keep an eye out if you're buying one of these used. And here's my brass. Came out of it last night. No issues. We'll zoom in on it. There's no splitting, no weird marks on it, no bulging. Nice strong primer, strong hits. Look at those firing pin shots. Nice and deep. Look at that. Perfect. And the brass looks good. No excessive blow by on it or anything. Awesome. Stick to CCI standard velocity. That's what I suggest you do. I wouldn't I wouldn't beat this bolt up. I really wouldn't. And if you're using, like, say, you use 22 quiet, or you want to go with shorts or something like that, you'd be really mellow with it, and you could lock the bolt closed. Hey, maybe if you use like really high powered ammo, you could just lock it closed so it doesn't beat it up. It's an interesting thought. Wouldn't exactly do it just yet. You have to contemplate that one. But at least, let's say you use stingers, at least you're locking it shut. I mean, you have with each shot, so the bolt isn't even moving. That's probably strong enough just to handle the round. It would just be the excessive blowback force that could mess it up. But hey, there's still some mechanisms going on, and so there's still a lot of gas knocking around in there. There's no reason to shoot stingers out of this thing. I mean, there really isn't. You have just as much fun. Don't forget about the realistic snap caps. You want to do function testing with these guys, or the 6A. Even you want to get in here and start function testing how that lifter works and all of that. These are what you need to use, because you don't want to be messing around with live ammo. Can you imagine being hunkered over a bench with a jeweler's loop, looking really close to get your lifter bent in just the right position to function properly? Because if one of these doesn't function, these are probably much more venerable than the tube-fed ones. But if you're sitting there and you're trying to get one of those little springs to be in the right spot, or something to be working properly, and you're hunched over the bench, and one of those rims gets caught because the round gets caught in a weird way and blows up in your face, you'd be like, wow, there was no need to have live ammo. I could have been using something that functions exactly like live ammo for a function test without the gunpowder. And this is what we're talking about. And you can't take a rimfire, pull the bullet off and dump it out and put the bullet back on without a primer, like some people say. If you really wanted to make realistic snap caps, you can do it with just using reloading equipment and just not putting a primer in it. But then the firing pin doesn't hit anything to protect it, and the rounds could easily come off and lodge in the barrel and do like a like a crow incident kind of thing going on. You know what I mean? A Brandon Lee a moment. So what's nice about these is that these are bonded. Like, these rounds they're like permanently bonded in there with some type of super epoxy, so they don't have to worry about them coming off. And if in fact you do drop the hammer on one of these, the firing pin hits, there's no primer even in the 22 case. So they're just completely inert. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. I'll buy another Gill Gun if I find another one. I would. There's so many different variations of these things. I'm sure I would get a Montgomery Ward or one of these others. Like, go take a look online on one of these chat forums. They list like 20 different manufacturers where these things come from. Some auto parts store that had their own specific version. I think J.C. Penney had one or something. It was like one from Key Food. I don't know. There's a million of them. A million different versions. This Stevens Model 85A. Yep. All right, everybody. Stay tuned. We got lots of cool stuff on the way. Later.